Belgium, the round of 16, and the United States are done. Welcome to FairPlay, Football AI Review. This was a round of 16 clash at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, played in front of 66,925 fans at Seattle's Lumen Field on a warm, clear July evening. The stakes could not have been higher, a quarter-final berth on the line, a nation's tournament dream hanging in the balance. Mauricio Pochettino's United States had topped their group with 6 points from 3 games, beating Australia and Paraguay before losing to Turkey, and arrived as the hosts with enormous public expectation. Belgium, in contrast, were battle-hardened, arriving off the back of tournament group wins over New Zealand and Senegal, and with a squad carrying far more knockout round experience than their opponents. The pre-match conversation centered on Pochettino's selection gamble, deploying Serginho Dest in what was effectively a wide forward role in a 4-3-3 rather than at right back, where most expected him to feature. Christian Pulisic, the captain and talisman, started despite coming in on limited minutes, while Belgium's Rudi Garcia made the bold call to leave Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, and Jeremy Doku all on the bench from kickoff, naming the electric but less heralded Dodi Lukebakio in their attack instead. The United States set up in a 4-3-3, with Tyler Adams sitting at the base of midfield, shielding a back four of Freeman, Richards, Ream, and Robinson. The shape was designed to press high and use Pulisic and Dest in wide positions to create overloads, while Malik Tillman and Weston McKennie provided the engine from the interior. Belgium lined up in their characteristic 4-2-3-1, with Nicolas Raskin and Amadou Onana anchoring in a double pivot, Yuri Tielemans operating in the 10 space, and Charles de Ketelaere positioned as a false 9. Leandro Trossard and Lukebakio flanked the attack, providing width and the constant threat of dribbling penetration. The tactical mismatch was evident from almost the first whistle. Belgium's double pivot of Raskin and Onana was superior to Adams operating alone at the base, and whenever the United States pressed high, the Belgians played sharp combinations through the center and released de Ketelaere in dangerous half spaces between the lines. Pochettino's 4-3-3 left the wide defenders, particularly Freeman on the right, exposed whenever Belgium's attackers rotated. The Americans started without conviction, allowing Belgium to dictate the tempo in the opening exchanges. The first spell of play demonstrated Belgium's composure in possession, circulating calmly through Castagne and de Kuyper before looking to spring de Ketelaere behind the American defensive line. Belgium broke the deadlock in just the 9th minute through Charles de Ketelaere. Nicolas Raskin drove a low pass across the face of goal, and the Atalanta forward arrived at precisely the right moment to turn the ball over the line, rewarding Belgium's early dominance and silencing the home crowd before they had truly warmed up. The United States found an equalizer in the 31st minute through a piece of genuine individual quality from Malik Tillman. The Bayern Munich man stepped up to a free kick 25 yards from goal, and his delivery clipped the head of Hans Vanaken, who had come on earlier as a substitute, and deflected wickedly past a wrong-footed Thibaut Courtois. It was a fortunate goal in its execution, but a testament to Tillman's delivery and ambition. 2 minutes later, Belgium immediately restored their advantage, and the cruelty of the timing was brutal. Leandro Trossard delivered a precise cross to the back post, and de Ketelaere timed his run perfectly to beat Tim Ream to a header, completing a brace inside 33 minutes. For Pochettino, seeing a hard-fought equalizer wiped out within 120 seconds was a damaging moment. Before the first half's opening exchanges settled, Folarin Balogun had shown flashes of movement that troubled Belgium's high defensive line, twice getting in behind only to be caught offside. The Americans were willing to run the channels, but the timing of their runs needed refinement. The halftime assessment was stark. Belgium led 1-2, had generated the cleaner chances, and had exposed a structural weakness in how the United States pressed without adequate midfield cover. For the Americans to stay in this tournament, the second half needed a fundamental tactical shift and more discipline without the ball. Belgium came out for the second half with the same purposeful efficiency, and the third goal arrived in the 57th minute in deeply unfortunate fashion for the hosts. Goalkeeper Matt Fries came off his line to deal with a through ball, attempted to control it off his chest, and then catastrophically misplayed a second touch, gifting the ball to De Ketelaere, who immediately squared it across goal to Hans Vanaken for a simple finish into an open net. It was an error that effectively ended the contest. Pochettino had already made one significant change at the break, withdrawing Serginho Dest and introducing Giovanni Reyna, hoping the Nottingham Forest man's creativity would generate more between the lines in Belgium's compact midfield block. Reyna showed willing with 24 passes across his 44 minutes on the pitch, but the structural problem in midfield was deeper than a single substitution could solve. The withdrawal of Christian Pulisic in the 59th minute, reportedly due to a right ankle issue, was a major psychological blow to the American camp. Pulisic had been quiet, barely threatening across his 59 minutes, but his presence alone created uncertainty in Belgian defenders. Sebastian Berhalter replaced him, contributing some energy and a half chance in his 31 minutes, but without Pulisic's individual quality, Belgium had less to fear. Ricardo Pepi came on for Tyler Adams in the 72nd minute, a double shift that moved the team toward a more direct approach, but by that stage Belgium's game management was assured. Adams had done solid enough work with 7 tackles across the pitch, but Belgium's quality and possession made his task an exhausting and ultimately losing battle. Belgium's double substitution in the 67th minute, Jeremy Doku on for Luke Bacchio, Romelu Lukaku on for De Ketelaere, was tactical authority at its finest from Rudi Garcia. De Ketelaere had given everything over 67 minutes and taken his goals brilliantly. Bringing on Lukaku and Doku at 2-1 up was the manager saying clearly, "This match is controlled, now let us finish it." Lukaku sealed Belgium's victory in the 90th minute in characteristic fashion, albeit with an element of fortune. A poor attempt by Chris Richards to dribble out from the back ran directly into the pressing Hans Vanaken, the ball ricocheting to the big striker, who cut inside and curled a composed low finish into the bottom corner. It was a clinical end to a comprehensive performance. Turning to the statistics, the possession numbers tell an interesting but misleading story. The United States controlled 56% of the ball and completed 459 accurate passes to Belgium's 334. Yet Pochettino's side generated an expected goals figure of just 0.61, evidence that they had plenty of ball in non-threatening areas and could not consistently convert that possession into genuine danger. Belgium's attacking numbers were damning for the hosts. The Red Devils registered 15 total shots, including 7 on target and 10 inside the penalty area, against the Americans' 7 total shots with only 2 on target. An expected goals figure of 2.08 for Belgium was not just fair, it arguably understated how comfortably they created against the American shape. Defensively, the United States showed commitment. Anthony Robinson was exceptional at left back with 7 tackles, and the team as a whole made 20 tackles, but Belgium's front line was too intelligent to be held back by hard work alone. Fries made 3 saves before his catastrophic error changed the match, and it is impossible to separate his second-half contribution from that single moment of poor judgment. The standout performer of the match on the home side was unquestionably Malik Tillman. He scored the Americans' only goal from a free kick, completed 35 passes, contributed 2 tackles, and showed more ambition than any of his teammates to affect the game in the final third. His yellow card in the 69th minute was an unfortunate blemish on an otherwise high-energy display. For Belgium, Charles De Ketelaere was simply magnificent. 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 shots on target from 3 total attempts, and the tactical intelligence to operate in tight spaces between the American midfield and defense was a masterclass in clinical forward play. His performance across 67 minutes justified every word of praise that has followed him since his Atalanta breakthrough. The player who struggled most on the night was Matt Fries. 3 saves kept the scoreline respectable, and he did his job well for the first hour, but his error for Belgium's 3rd goal was inexcusable at this level. Fries came off his line unnecessarily, failed to control the ball cleanly, and handed Belgium a goal that killed the game as a contest. Tactically, Rudi Garcia deserves enormous credit. The decision to bench De Bruyne, Lukaku, and Doku at kickoff looked like a bold gamble, but proved to be shrewd game management. Garcia identified that Belgium had enough quality in their starting lineup to lead the game, then introduced match winners from the bench to close it. Pochettino's choice to use Dest in a forward role rather than his natural defensive position disrupted Belgium very little and left the Americans vulnerable on the right flank throughout. In terms of head-to-head history, this is now the second World Cup meeting between these two sides, and Belgium have won both. Their previous encounter came in Brazil in 2014, when the Red Devils also eliminated the United States, on that occasion after extra time. Belgium now hold a full psychological edge in knockout competition against their American counterparts. The United States enter this result off a mixed run of form, wins over Bosnia, Australia, and Paraguay, bookending the group stage loss to Turkey. This defeat extends a concerning pattern of underperforming in high-pressure knockout matches, and for all the talent that has developed within the program in recent years, converting that development into deep World Cup runs remains elusive. Belgium's form leading into this match was genuinely impressive. Back-to-back wins over Senegal and New Zealand in the group stage, demonstrating an attack that could score freely at this level. Their ability to manage a match, control tempo through Tielemans and Raskin, and then add ruthless quality from the bench marks them out as one of the more complete squads remaining in the tournament. For the United States, this result means elimination at the round of 16 stage despite topping their group. The tournament dream ends here for Pochettino's generation, and the questions that will follow are difficult ones. Whether the system was right, whether the reliance on individual moments rather than a coherent attacking structure is sustainable, and whether this group of players has a World Cup win in them. They had home support, favorable conditions, and a knockout draw that many believed they could progress through. Belgium advanced to the quarterfinals, where they will face Spain on the 10th of July. That is a truly formidable test. Spain have been one of the tournament's most commanding sides, and De Bruyne will likely be hungry for more minutes after his bench role tonight. The question for Rudi Garcia is whether this system can contain a Spanish press, and whether De Ketelaere can reproduce this kind of form against elite defensive organization. This was a 4-1 defeat that flattered the United States. Belgium were superior in almost every meaningful metric: chances created, individual quality, tactical intelligence, and clinical finishing. De Ketelaere's brace and the devastating third goal from Van Aken after Fries's error swung the match beyond reach before the hour mark. The result closes an era for this generation of American footballers. Some will return in 4 years, others may not. But Belgium tonight were simply the better team in every department, and they advanced to a quarter-final with genuine belief. Keep watching this space. There is so much more of this tournament still to come, and right here on FairPlay we will cover every decisive moment. Spain versus Belgium is next on the agenda, and it promises to be something special. That's the FairPlay verdict on this one. If you want more analysis like this, follow us. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at FairPlay AI, and follow Anthony personally on X at Anthony Fairplay. See you next match.